Hello, my name is Dennis, and welcome to the first behind the scenes film, where we're going to show the process of how we made the demo for Jazon Undead. We're going to show some of the first prototypes that we saved to some of the last demos that is very close to what we have now. We're going to talk a little bit about the decisions that we took and a little bit about what went good and what went bad. So this is one of the first builds that I could find of the game. We had a cinematic quite early on, and we spent a lot of energy working on this cinematic, which probably wasn't the right choice at the time, because we could have worked more on the in-game assets and stuff like that. We also, you can see it was not even done yet, because there was still some previous in there. It was actually sent to a publisher, this build, which we probably should have waited before sending this. So what you see initially is the camera is really different. There's a lot of noise, and we haven't really defined the styles as well. It's mostly like standard shaders on the characters. They don't really have any specific animation style. It's just like assets from the asset store. Also, the controls are different and a bit chunky. You use the keyboard for moving around, and you can still interact with things. The GUI is very ugly, and it has this arcade thing to it because the items that you can pick up are spinning around. Like you can see the keycard down here spinning. This room was later moved to another spot. We also had music in the first and second level, which we later decided not to have to create more tension in the first levels and to really enhance the moments when the music then comes. In this demo we only had the first two sections of the game, and you can see this is the inventory as well, which is very different. You have to use your mouse and then click on the item. As we go into the next room we will encounter some zombies. The whole design of this level is very different as well. So to shoot them, I click on them and then Jazon shoots. Let's try again. And this demo is about 3 years old. You can see there's also a little bit of bugs in it. That's why we had the lag spike. This is a build where we went out to showcase it at the Indie Prize in Amsterdam. And this was still very rough, and you could argue that we went out too early, but for us it was a good learning process. It was the first game that we went out to show, and because of that, it was also a matter of when should we actually show it. The cinematic got updated and actually finished, so we had all the shots in there. It was in 2014. We worked a lot on the controls, which when I play the old build, I can really feel that it went a good way. You can also see that it looks very funny when he runs and stuff like that. However, we got a better feeling in the game. We now have props, different places. We worked on the art style. You can see it's more defined than in the previous one. Still, the shaders looks a little bit weird. Now you can actually open all the closets. Oh yeah, so this is something we had in the earlier build where you had to first go up to the door and then you could talk to Zoe afterwards, and she would give you the hairpin. And this is the kind of the way the old inventory looked, because we liked the way that it was all centered around Jazon, but we later found out it just wasn't really working. You see, this room is pretty similar to what we have in the demo now. And we also got aiming in. It's all played with a controller now, which really makes the experience much better. And he ran really slow upstairs. I remember that one. We didn't have the tutorial. Oh, yeah, and we shot on a different button back then. You can see this room is also kind of empty. And the zombies highlight in a really ugly way. And you see the effects is also a bit weird. So this is a build from 2015, mid 2015, and I can really feel that the controls are a lot better. You're not able to aim in the first levels because you don't get the gun here. You can see there's still some bugs because I'm recording. The frame rate is a little bit bad. You can see the GUI is different. The inventory is different. It still feels a little bit weird when you try to control him, which is something we worked a lot on trying to nail down. We have these different clues, music clues now. When you see the first zombie is standing here and you can kind of shoot it. You can though see there's still like the aiming was something we really struggled with getting to work. You can see there's basically no AI. They just stand still, and then when you walk close, they do something. So we didn't have the shotgun. We only had the pistol, and you can see this level. This area is very dark compared to what we have in the demo now. You can see his movements are really jagged when you try to aim. The challenge with that was that he should be able to aim in a different direction that he walks. Apparently it's not easy to do that. We just had to place stuff around, but it was the first time that the demo actually felt like something that could be played and could work. Where before it was too short to actually give a good impression, and it was also mostly just like a tutorial you got into and not learning that much. This was more like a game that when it's finished you kind of want more. Alright, this is from 2016, April. We added more depth to the puzzle in the last sections of the game. We also added dialogue when you try to use different things on things in your inventory, on different objects in the environment. Controlling was also tweaked. We have like you saw, we have subtitles and subtitles for when Zoe's out of the screen. It was really a lot of back and forth with the puzzles. We did some testing and saw how people reacted to elements in the levels. We also added new blood effects, as you can see. We added explosions and shotgun. We also added that you could blow body parts off the zombies. And you can see the AI is working much better. Still, it's not, you can see it's not perfect. We added Zoe to the last level and we completely redesigned this puzzle actually. We wanted a bit more depth to it, and we also wanted to challenge the player so they would use not only the environment but also items in the inventory that we learned earlier in the game. Alright, so this is our latest version of the game. We have a start menu and we have settings, which is great, and it's basically because we want to release the demo soon. Don't worry, there's no spoilers in it, because we want to make most of it. We want to not redo, but the story in this demo is not going to be part of the actual story. So in this build, a lot changed actually. We reworked a lot of the lighting. We added the new Zoe model. Some of the things that we haven't got in the build yet is fighting. you can't really punch the zombies, which is a big feature that we want to add. We also want to balance out how the weapons work. We have been balancing it out pretty well, but there's still a lot of things that could be better. We've also been working on like the puzzles in general. It was a big learning curve for us, and with those we kind of learned what we should do and what we shouldn't do. We learned that if you put items in the game, people will try to use them and try to interact with them, even though it's not the point, because players are very creative, and it makes sense, but it's just kind of crazy, all the possibilities that people try out, which is also great because then we can kind of use that in a positive way to lead the player. As you already probably know, we also use the light a lot to lead the player. We did some of the effects. The system we did for the zombie clothing allows us to implement new zombies quite fast. You just need to make different costumes, and then we'll be able to put that in. This level is quite hard if you play it for the first time. It's because there's some pressure for you to do it fast, and zombies are coming from both ways, which, if you're not used to the controls, can be really challenging. And that's also something we're working on a lot, to make things challenging but not too hard and not too easy. We also want to add that there's different possibilities to solve a puzzle, because sometimes when you play adventure games or puzzle games, you kind of think of a solution that is so viable that you kind of feel cheated when it's not the right way to do it. And that's something we want to avoid in the build, or in the game, sorry. Yeah, for instance, if you encounter a person and you have to get something from that person, you could shoot them. That would be an easy way to solve it. But you could also try to convince them into giving it to you. So that's an example of how puzzles could be different and affect your choices. And another thing we're also working on, and have been working on for a while, is different objects that you can interact with. Not only pick up and use, you can also destroy things and push things around, even though it doesn't really have a purpose. It just adds more life to the game. Okay, here at the end I just want to say that even though we've been working on the game for more than 3 years, it's been off on in between client work, which means it haven't been 3 years non-stop. Thank you for watching this behind the scenes film. We're gonna make more of these films later on. If you have anything you would like us to look into, please write a comment below. If you don't know this already, we are currently running a crowdfunding campaign to fund our game. You can go in and check it out. We have a lot of cool rewards. Thank you, and see you in the next video.